Hi, it's AJ. Welcome back. So, I started this channel with the intention of me showing my journey with weight loss and all of the struggles that I go through. And it turns out it's really hard to be really open. And I don't know, I've struggled with being super self-conscious for the last 5 years. I honestly have not been out of my house hardly at all. It's easy to have these kind of goals and then it going completely south. I will say, however, even though it's been rough that way, I have lost weight. I'll try and insert a picture from my previous video. I was so self-conscious back then that I did not even take a full body picture. When I did my first video, being 380, I was so self-conscious. Getting myself to do just that video, I was dying. And looking back, I really wish I had, but I think you can tell from the photo, I have a little less weight here and in my cheeks, and I think even in my shoulders you can tell. But from November 22nd to today, I've lost 50 pounds. I'm down to 331, which is still really high, really bums me out still, but I think I've done okay. I actually have written down, just because I thought it might be interesting for you guys to see kind of where I've been and what I've been doing the last bunch of months. Honestly, it's been a struggle. I don't know what happened like the last 4 months of this year. I have been really struggling to go down. I know it's more than just a physical plateau. I think emotionally and mentally, I had some hurdles I had to go through before I could start really pounding out the weight again. It's really hard. I feel like with every, handful of pounds you lose, you also have to shed like the equivalent in past trauma and depression, and there's a lot of like mental gymnastics that at least I have to go through, and it's been hard. So starting out from my last video, I honestly can't remember when I last uploaded. It had to have been in November because that's when I weighed myself. If not, whatever, I guess it doesn't really matter. But on November 22nd, I weighed and I was 379 point something. It averaged to 380 pounds, so I just rounded it up. And at that point, I was like devastated. I think, I never thought I would get to 400 pounds, and being 380, being so close to 400 pounds. That was pretty terrifying for me, especially when, I was one of those people where I would look at really obese people who are like my weight, and I would think, oh my gosh, how can they get themselves to such a terrible weight? Like, I would never let myself get that overweight, and here I am. It's really amazing. After that first month, I had lost such a decent amount of weight. I started to get myself kind of, I think, overhyped. This is a problem that I've always had when it comes to losing weight, is that I start losing weight and I start getting really pumped up and excited, and I want to lose weight faster because I'm just ready to be thin and healthy. And I end up putting so much pressure on myself trying to rush my weight off. So what ended up happening is in January, I would try to fast longer. I would try to do like 2 or 3 days, and even tried to go off and do like even 7 days. I really went crazy. And obviously what would end up happening is I would binge eat and just end up gaining back all of the weight that I had lost while fasting. And so I've like gone from like 358, I fast several days, and then I go down to 350, 352, somewhere around there. And then I'll be so hungry, I'll eat like, I don't know why, I had Chipotle several times, and that is not the food you want to eat when you are trying to do any kind of fasting. I don't know. I think any diet at all. You don't want to eat Chipotle a lot. There's a lot of carbs in it. I don't know. For my body, it wasn't working. I was not losing weight. And so I would get really discouraged and I would try to push even harder and I would try to fast. I don't get it. I don't know why I do this. I'm self-sabotaging. It's obvious. I can't control myself. So anyways, what ended up happening is by the end of January, like I said, I was like 348, and all of March I stayed in the 40s. All of February I stayed in the 40s. So basically what ended up happening after that is I essentially yo-yoed back and forth from high 40s, high 340s to low 340s. And it took me all the way until the beginning of May. I finally was able to stay stable in the 330s. Yesterday I weighed and I was 332. I'll probably weigh again today. I've been struggling in between then. It's hard for me to explain all of it. Overall, I've lost 50 pounds, which is good. Like, I'm really glad, but I also feel like I've put myself through a lot of unnecessary stress because I've been trying to push down that weight so quickly that, like I said, I end up self-sabotaging myself. And so I kind of had to come to terms with myself. This last week, I gave myself the permission. I'm like, you know what? Even though I really want to lose my weight as soon as possible, I mean, I have a lot of motivation to want to lose my weight right now. I feel like when I turned 30, it was this last June that I turned 30, and I had a full-on, it was a midlife crisis. I'm just gonna say it. It was a midlife crisis. I felt like I am so old. I can't believe, most of my 20s were absolutely atrocious. I hated my 20s. I didn't really accomplish anything. I have had no focus in my life. It's been really hard for me to get any kind of goals accomplished. There's been a lot of reasons familial wise that have kind of kept me held back. I feel like I have a lot of trauma from my childhood, and then it just kept piling up in high school and after college, and I've never been able to be really settled until the last 2 or 3 years. And so I don't know. Thinking about all of those things, I just told myself, you know what? It doesn't matter how quickly I lose my weight. What I really need to focus on is allowing the process to take place and not push myself so much. And if I need to take a couple weeks to emotionally just chill and not die over losing, 10 or 15 pounds, then that's how it's going to have to be, because it ends up making it go slower, because there was 2 or 3 months at the beginning of this year where the needle wasn't moving at all. And it's because I would just immediately gain back whatever weight I lost because of my stress and my inclination towards binge eating. I recently saw, I think her name's Beatrice Caruso on YouTube. She did a video that she just came out with saying that, she never intended to lose her weight, meaning more or less that her approach and how she went about treating herself and with her diet, it was clearly not going to result in her with permanent weight loss. And she spoke about her problem with binge eating and how it's really the only comfort in her life. And I can really relate to that. I think a lot of people can. I mean, emotionally, everything, at least for me, has been so chaotic that food has been one of the few constants. And if you grew up in a really conservative family like I did, it's not like there's a whole lot of vices that you can turn to when you are seeking that kind of emotional dependency. it really got me thinking, and I think that's what kind of helped me move towards this perspective, kind of a newer perspective. I think I just want to look at it like you can only do what you can do. And I think most importantly, I've lacked consistency. And so as much as I want to push hard and lose my weight fast, it's obviously not going to work out that way. So I'm just going to go back to what I was supposed to be doing from the very start, fasting every other day, because that first month, that's all I did. I just fasted every other day, and I had just a normal meal. Like I was doing a lot of my own home cooking that month, and so I was eating like beef stew with like rolls. Like it wasn't that like health centric. It was just focused on, you know, meals from scratch. I've actually started doing HelloFresh with my family just because I suck at cooking basically. I cannot cook. My mom could not cook. It was some form of potato with some form of meat, and that's my upbringing. That's all I knew when it came to cooking. My mom could bake, but she could not cook at all. And so we've been doing HelloFresh, and it actually has been really helpful because I've been able to see like, okay, well, this is what like a normal portion size is that these people recommend. And it's interesting to see how I don't eat like that. Just really quickly, I'm going to insert a video here of just a full-on shot of me from head to toe, because I needed to have done that when I was 380 and I didn't, and I kind of regret it. Kind of not. I was so self-conscious. I couldn't get myself to do it as much as I wish I could not have done it. So I'm gonna do that this week. It's gonna suck and I'm gonna hate it, but I think it's really important to get that so that you know where I started from. You know, you can be beautiful in all sizes and lots. I feel like when I see other people who are overweight, I'm like, you know, they don't look that bad. They're really pretty. But when I see myself, I don't think that. I don't think I look that great. So that's why I'm losing my weight. That's why I'm doing this. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and put that in. And yeah, next week, look forward to me kind of showing you what it is that I plan on eating forward now that I am just sticking with the every other day. I'm wanting to do the keto OMAD. Keep the carbs as low as possible because my goal is I just don't want my body to get stuck on a plateau. And I feel like when I start relying on foods that have more carbs, my body just holds on to it. And I just need to get something that'll allow my body to lose the weight, because I feel like once I get on a roll, my body does tend to drop the weight fast. I just need to build up that momentum again. Tune in next week. I will be uploading more regularly, I promise. I'm very sorry I haven't kept up with it. I'm gonna go ahead and put in that clip, and I will see you guys next week. See you later.